Hello, I'm Warren Martin, and this is Face Today, and this is Monday night, but this will be for a Tuesday video. And this week we've been talking about this idea of finding some kind of normality in your life. And in the Face Today video for this week, I said, you know what, we're all just a little bit insane, and if we don't mind so much being insane, then we're able to find some measure of normality. But you have to ask yourself, what is normal for a sinful, fallen world? Well, what's normal for a sinful, fallen world is sinful, fallen people. So I'm not sure that normality is really a goal that maybe we should attain, not in the way that we normally think about it, but I think God has something greater planned for us, and maybe what His greater plan actually embraces that little bit of you that's insane rather than that part of you that's trying to act normal. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look in Corinthians, in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, 1 Corinthians chapter 4 in verse 10, the Bible, Paul's writing, and he says, you know what? We are fools for Christ's sake, but you are wise. We are weak, but you are strong. You are distinguished, but we are dishonored. And in this, one of the greatest Christian men that's ever walked this earth said, you know what? In your presence, I am a fool, I am unwise, and I am disgraced. Now then, that should be a wake-up call to all of us. That what we are to be as Christians is not the elite. What we are to be as Christians is not the most extraordinary people in the room. We are to be unique people, which means that a lot of times we have to embrace our insanity. We have to embrace our foolishness. We have to embrace the things that most of the world wants us to conform and do away with. You see, I think that is really the problem with normality. What most people are seeking that they say is normal is actually conformity. They are conforming to what society says they ought to be. They are conforming to the way that society says they ought to live. One great example of this is, for some reason in our society today, we say that religion should be a private matter. Never in the history of mankind has religion been a private matter. Yet if you go forward and you are outward about your Christianity, you are outward about what you live, and people look at you and say, man, that guy's a freak. That guy's strange. Well, that's what Paul was talking about. We are fools for Christ's sake. We do not conform. We stand out. In fact, right before that, a verse that most people overlook and don't understand, Paul, in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8, he says, you are already full. You are already rich. You have reigned as kings without us, and indeed I wish you did reign, that we also might reign with you. In this, Paul calls us kings. And he says, man, you've reigned as kings without us. You may not know that, but you've reigned as kings without us. Now reign as a king with us. And what does he mean by that? Does he mean that we're all kings of our own little world? No. What he's saying is, look, in a kingdom, the law is the king. Whatever the king says, that's the way it is. The king makes the decisions on how everybody is going to function around them, how everybody's going to interact, and how the kingdom is going to move forward. You have that same discretion over your own life. You get to choose who you're going to be. You get to choose how you're going to live. You get to choose how you're going to function in this world. You get to choose what job you're going to have. You get to make those choices. In essence, you get to be a king. You get to be the one who makes that choice. We want to sit back and say, no, the conforming part of us, the part that wants to fit in with society, wants to say, no, I'm not making those choices. My boss is making those choices. My job's making those choices. My parents are making those choices. Well, my spouse is making those choices. Those are excuses. Those are just excuses that dismiss you from the responsibility and the truth that you have chosen to be who you are today. You are the king. You are the one who gets to choose how you're going to live in this world. So let me ask you, what have you chosen? Are you happy with what you've chosen? Maybe today is the day that you need to embrace a little more of the insanity. Embrace a little bit more of the foolishness. Embrace that uniqueness that God created you to live in. And reign as a king, make some decisions, and be a fool for Christ's sake. Maybe that is the area where you will find the greatest experience of your life. Being who God created you to be. And that is how we're enabled to face today.